And Zimbabwe's governing party, Zanu PF, is wrapping up its annual conference where an extension of President Emmerson Mnangagwa's tenure will likely be endorsed. The decision follows a controversial resolution passed last year to extend Mnangagwa's rule to 2030. The move has widened cracks within the ruling party. Retired journalist and political commentator Mawarire told Newzroom Afrika that Zanu PF wants to amend the constitution and avoid the requirement of going to the people for a referendum.
The resolutions are out. They have adopted that the president should go on until 2030, and they've set actually a committee and instructed the Minister of Justice to push, who is the legal secretary in Zanu PF, to look at ways how the constitution can be amended in order to extend the president's stay in power to 2030. And they want to do that also by changing the constitution and avoiding the constitutional requirement of going to the people through a referendum.
Yeah, so they seem they've completely ignored the issues that Chiwenga was raising.
Yes, it's not actually not only having the president go up to 2030, but there's a whole concerted effort, and there are documents that we have actually stumbled upon which recommend that there should be a 10-year ban on elections, and the president can actually go up to 2035. That would make him president of Zimbabwe for 18 years. Clearly, there's a concerted effort to get us back to where we were with President Mugabe, and President Mnangagwa has actually hoodwinked a lot of people, even other SADC countries, that he was getting in to correct the past, and he was going to be just a 10-year president. Yeah. But we have seen with moves that are going on now that he's keen on staying in power for as long as is possible. He's 87 years old now, although officially he claims to be 83. And if you add 10 more years to that, that will be 93 officially, and that will be the age when President Mugabe was ousted from power. So we are heading back to where we were. It's a disaster. It's a national disaster.
Is this not stirring up any tensions?
That's exactly what he's doing. He's fomenting confusion and conflict within his own party, yeah. But he's also creating problems within SADC, because if you ban elections, it means there are very limited ways that people will express their concern, or they would change leadership.
Now, Zanu PF spokesperson Richard Mahomva joins us for a response. A very good evening to you, Mr. Mahomva. Thank you so much for joining us. And just to shoot straight into it, why the move to amend the constitution to extend Mnangagwa's term? I mean, he came into power saying he won't overstay.
Yeah, just as a point of correction, I'm not a Zanu PF spokesperson. The Zanu PF spokesperson is Ambassador Christopher Mtswangwa. And I think I'm speaking in my capacity, number one, as a political scientist and also as a Zanu PF apologist. So I think I needed to clarify that.
Thank you.
So the first issue at the end is that His Excellency President Emmerson Mnangagwa has not made any commitments to want to extend his term. He is on record for more than 3 times making indications or clear pronouncements that he is a constitutionalist and he would not do anything that violates the constitution that he actually wrote, that he contributed to its authorship. And on that basis, it is not true for anyone to argue that he has got any intentions to extend his term of office. But the correct position is that from the ward in Zimbabwe, from the village in Zimbabwe, right up to the districts who constitute the key structures of Zanu PF, there has been this pronounced wish for him to extend his term. But outside the conversation that has been raised by people in Zanu PF, another pertinent matter that arises within the Zimbabwean body politic is that as it stands, Zanu PF is the only alive political party in the sense that there is no robust opposition political party. So even if the elections were to happen in 2028, you'd still see Zanu PF prevailing. And the point I'm making here is the issue is not about Emmerson Mnangagwa, the person, but it is about the longevity of Zanu PF, the institution, because the fundamental function of political parties is for them to stay in power. So let's not confine this debate to say it is President Emmerson Mnangagwa wants to extend his term in office, because this is coming from political structures. It could have been someone else that members of Zanu PF would have said they want the term extended, because the fundamental function of political parties is to stay longer in power and not to lose power. And this is what Zanu PF is saying, that through President Emmerson Mnangagwa, we feel that we can sustain our hold in power. This is what the party structures in Zanu PF are saying.
So this proposal was also formally endorsed by the party at its annual National People's Conference. So you're saying that this is a position not by the president himself or his government. You're saying it's a wish by the people from the villages and across Zimbabwe. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it is people who love him, but I want us to escalate our analysis beyond personalities and say we need to look at this conversation within the context of a political party wanting to stay long in power and seeing that the political persona of its current leader perhaps has the capacity to ensure that that political party stays for longer in power. The conversation about constitutionalism is a conversation by experts. But in any case, the people in Zanu PF are willing to amend the constitution.
But why? I'm sorry, Mr. Mahomva, I really need to come in there. Why amend the constitution? Yeah. And if you're going to do that and you want that president to continue, then surely, as per your constitution, you will send out a referendum. You're saying that this is the wish of the people. How do we know that? How does the globe know that if there hasn't been some sort of formal referendum that's taken place that shows that the majority, the overwhelming majority of Zimbabweans, this is actually what they want?
Yeah, this is what the Zanu PF 22nd National People's Conference proposed, that legal processes should take effect so that political parties' resolution finds legal expression. So yes, we have seen a political party that has expressed its own existential wish, and they are saying we are then going to give that existential wish a constitutional expression. So before they do that, we cannot actually dismiss that partisan wish, but we are seeing a situation whereby you have a political party that is saying we are interested in doing this and we want to give it legal expression. So if the referendum route is going to happen and it's accepted, it means that surely the position that the party has got a majority would actually be cemented. And it would also underscore the fact that truly the issue about Vision 2030 was coming from the grassroots. But if it does not happen, I'm sure that constitutional outcome will be respected. So it's a mere political party's wish, which should find constitutional expression. And I think let's allow that litmus test of constitutional expression to take its course, and perhaps only then we can start making relevant analysis as to whether this is purely accepted by most Zimbabweans or not. But also remember that the subject of this debate is President Emmerson Mnangagwa, and he has argued that beyond his term of office, he is going to leave office, but also he also has an option to follow the obligation of his party because individuals are subordinate to the democratic wishes of the majority. And in this case, President Emmerson Mnangagwa would be supposed to subject himself to the wishes of the majority of the party that appointed him into office.
What about
Because he's a servant
democracy?
of the party.
What about democracy?
Yeah, but the
and more
process of-
importantly,
but the
before you
process
answer
of-
what about democracy, what's the difference then between what Robert Mugabe did by staying in power for all those many years and what Emmerson Mnangagwa or Zanu PF is proposing that he do? What is the difference between them two then?
Well, President Robert Mugabe was being elected by the people of Zimbabwe, and all elections were happening guided by our previous constitution. And under the circumstances, we have a new constitution, and this partisan desire is going to be subjected to legal processes, because Zanu PF has given us clear indications that this is what we want, and we want this wish to find constitutional expression. They are not saying because we are in power, we are going to ignore the rule of law. No, they are saying
No, they're
we
going
are
to change it to
subject
suit
this
them.
wish. Yeah, we're going to subject ourselves to legal processes. If it means going to the referendum, and remember, this is not the first time that Zimbabwe went through a referendum process. We actually had a referendum in 2000 that actually almost decimated the fortunes of Zanu PF. And this is a party that is aware of that particular historical context. And they are saying, regardless of this very wish that is coming from almost the majority of our members, we are going to subject this to legal processes. So if the process goes through legal considerations and it wins, it means democracy would have won.
You're saying that this is a mere political party's wish. Is Zanu PF putting its own wishes above the people of Zimbabwe?
But this is the party that has got the majority. And when we speak of the people of Zimbabwe, we are saying the majority are from Zanu PF. So the other a minority. And if we go to the basics of democracy, democracy is concerned about prioritizing the interests of the majority. And based on the election results since 1980, the majority in Zimbabwe comes from Zanu PF. So democracy thrives from Zanu PF's political architecture, which has got more supporters.
You know, there are also allegations of the government of the day looting the state, and that's why the state is in the way that it is and hasn't improved. What has President Mnangagwa achieved since taking office that he cannot retire in his 80s?
It's not that the man does not want to retire. He is on record that he would want to exit office. Let's be clear about that. But also for you to argue that Zimbabwe is in a state of underdevelopment is not true, given that if you look at the agriculture growth from 2018, the numbers quite indicate we are a country that has a $23 billion economy. We are a country that has got the largest steel plant in Africa. We are a country that has been attracting high investment from abroad in the last years. We are a country that has even had excesses of infrastructure development. So for anyone to argue that Zimbabwe is not progressing and that Zimbabwe is stagnant, it is anyone who puts across that position really would be economic with the truth. Yes, the country has got challenges. And then the issue of corruption, every other country goes through episodes of being entangled in issues of corruption. Not that I want to condone issues of corruption, but every state has got porous systems. And I think it is a bit remiss to want to look at Zimbabwe's context as a very isolated case and want to base on the issue of corruption as the center of the underdevelopment, and also not considering that let me exhaust this point, and not also.
I'm sorry, we
considering
are
that,
out of time. I'm sorry, if you can just briefly finish that point, because we have run out of time.
Yeah, let me exhaust that point. Yeah. Let me exhaust that point to say Zimbabwe, like any post-colony, is a product of the structural deficits that colonialism left to modern African states. So our problems cannot only be solely analyzed on the basis
Mr. Mahomva,
of
I'm so sorry. We really have to end this here. I really wish we had more time to continue talking about this, and also just some of the views that you've expressed as well, but we're going to have to let you go there.